Welcome to Class 4 of Beginning Meditation. If you have not taken the previous classes, please do so before taking this one. In a moment, we'll do a guided meditation. We'll expand our awareness to include the mind, and I'll also give some instruction on how to approach thoughts. First, I'll briefly discuss the mind. Mind as an object of awareness refers to your state of mind, or mood. It may be desirous or generous. It may be aversive or loving. It may be deluded or clear. It may be distracted or concentrated, or some other state of mind. We bring a state of mind to every moment, to every experience. We also have habits, tendencies, patterns that we can call our predisposition. As with the other objects of awareness, observe the mind without reacting in order to understand the momentary state of mind as well as your general predisposition. States of mind can be healthy or unhealthy. In Buddhist terms, we say they can be wholesome or unwholesome. Our job is to cultivate wholesome states of mind and to stop unwholesome states of mind from arising. Awareness of mind helps facilitate this process. So take a few seconds to get situated. Let's sit. As before, bring your awareness to the breath. And if a bodily sensation or emotion arises, bring your awareness to the bodily sensation or emotion. With your awareness on the breath, or on a bodily sensation, or on an emotion, you may notice that your attention is drawn to your state of mind. When that happens, bring your awareness to your state of mind. Investigate your state of mind. Is it desirous or generous? Is it aversive or loving? Is it deluded or clear? Is it distracted or concentrated, or some other state of mind? Try not to react to your state of mind. Accept it as it is, without wanting it to be anything different. When you notice your awareness is not with the breath, not with a bodily sensation, not with an emotion, and not with your state of mind, bring your awareness back to the breath. When a thought or thinking arises, do not pay attention to the content of the thought. Simply be aware that there is thinking. Keep your awareness on thinking until the thought dissipates. When that happens, bring your awareness back to the breath. If the thought or pattern of thoughts persists, it may be being triggered by a strong emotion. Now, pay attention to the content of the thought and investigate the emotion. Try to recognize it. Try to get to the root cause of the thinking. This may break the pattern of recurrent thoughts. When that happens, bring your awareness back to the breath. Before today's Dhamma talk, I'll say a few words about the practice. You've been instructed to bring your awareness to whatever arises. This is sometimes referred to as choiceless awareness. You can also direct your awareness to the object of meditation. For the past several years, my practice has been what are known as concentration practices. I focus exclusively on the breath. Every once in a while, I take a break and I sit with choiceless awareness, or I might devote an entire sit to being with the emotions. There's no right or wrong way. In this course, and with any meditation instruction you might receive, you are being given tools. It's up to you to figure out what works best for you. Today's Dhamma talk is on the 5 hindrances. The 5 hindrances are mental states that hinder or obstruct progress in meditation, or as we say, progress along the path. The hindrances cloud the mind and impede concentration. Our goal is to recognize them, become familiar with them, and eventually eradicate them. When we do, we transform our practice as well as ourselves. The first hindrance is sense desire, and we all know and are familiar with sense desire. Here it covers the entire spectrum, from mild interest to burning desire. When you're meditating and you start thinking about food or some other sensual pleasure, you're distracted. Your mind is no longer on the object of awareness. That's the hindrance of sense desire. The second hindrance is aversion. And again, this includes the smallest irritation, ill will, anger, rage. One example when you're meditating is when there's pain and you want to move to relieve the pain. Or you might want to scratch an itch. Or there might be a noise. You want it to go away, or you're angry at the person making the noise. Or you might be having a particularly difficult sit and you start praying for the bell to ring to put you out of your misery. The third hindrance has a kind of funny name. It's called sloth and torpor. Sloth refers to mental sluggishness. Torpor refers to laziness, drowsiness, sleepiness. So this might occur on those days where you're just too lazy to meditate. Or you might meditate and you're tired and you fall asleep. Yes, this has been known to happen. The fourth hindrance is restlessness and worry. And this manifests in a number of different ways. You may become agitated, it may be hard to sit still. The fifth hindrance is doubt. It can be doubt about yourself, about your practice, about the teacher, and even about the teachings themselves. So as you may have noticed, the Buddha was very fond of similes, and there is a simile for the hindrances. It comes from the Sangarava Sutta. The hindrance of sensual desire is similar to water mixed with dye. Aversion resembles water heated to a boil. Sloth and torpor is like water overgrown with algae. Restlessness and worry is like water stirred by the wind. Doubt is like dark and muddy water. The hindrances don't just apply to meditation, they apply to all aspects of our life. As you become familiar with them, you'll see how they impede happiness, how they cause our suffering, the suffering of others, and much of the suffering in the world. The Buddha talks about this in that same sutta. This refrain uses sense desire, but he repeats the refrain for each of the hindrances. Well, Brahman, when a man dwells with his heart possessed and overwhelmed by sense desires, and does not know, as it really is, the way of escape from sense desires that have arisen, then he cannot know or see, as it really is, what is to his own profit, nor can he know and see what is to the profit of others, or of both himself and others. Then even sacred words he has long studied are not clear to him, not to mention those he has not studied. The Buddha pointed out the hindrances and he also gave us ways of dealing with them that we can call antidotes. And I'll mention a few of these antidotes. There are general antidotes that apply to all the hindrances. One of those is awareness. And hopefully, as you've experienced yourself, sometimes when you bring your awareness to an object or a mental state, it disappears. A second general antidote is investigation, and we've talked about that. A third is impermanence, understanding that everything passes. This is a major concept in the teachings. I'll talk more about it in the next class. There are also specific antidotes. For sense desire, there's something called asubha practices. Asubha means ugly or unattractive. In these practices, you learn how to look at desirable objects as undesirable. There's a notion in the teachings called sense restraint, where you don't let your senses linger on an object. So when you're walking down the street and you see that piece of cake, you look at it, you recognize it, and then you avert your eyes. A final specific antidote to sense desire is simply avoiding the object of desire. Aversion takes two forms. There's aversion to people and other beings, and there's aversion to objects. For now, I'll just talk about aversion to other beings, specifically people. One antidote is something called metta. Metta is a Pali term for loving kindness. And you send loving kindness to that person. There is actually metta meditation, and in the next class we'll go over instruction for metta meditation. You can also have compassion for that person. This includes understanding that when people cause harm, it's because they are suffering themselves. For sloth and torpor, the best antidote is mindfulness. This can be hard when you're tired. Another antidote is movement, and I'll paraphrase the teachings. You can pull your ears, massage your body, get up, sprinkle your eyes with water, and look up at the sky. You can also do walking meditation, and in this course we won't go over walking meditation, but if you stick with it at some point, you will have instructions for walking meditation. Finally, if all else fails and you have to take a nap, do so mindfully. For restlessness and worry, you focus on your breathing and focus on as narrow an area as possible. For restlessness, you want less striving and you want to avoid provocative talk. Worry is sometimes a result of guilt. If so, try to get to the root of the guilt. One of my favorite sayings is about worry. Most of the worst things in my life never happened. For doubt, you can study the Dhamma, persevere, and try to figure things out or see them for yourself. I'll talk about one area of my doubt. In the second class, I talked about the concept of birth and rebirth, which is central to the teachings. Even though I've been meditating over 20 years and I've studied the scriptures, I remain skeptical. I'm open to the possibility, but I still have doubt. According to the teachings, there are ways to actually experience or see rebirth for yourself. I hope to see this. I'd like to read a poem by Rumi. It's It's called the guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Your homework for between now and the next class is, as much as possible, be mindful of your state of mind. Check in regularly. Also, see if you notice any patterns. That ends class 4. I hope your practice is going well and that you continue to make progress.